Good morning, and thank you, Paolo, and thank you to all organizers, staff, participants, those from the Ministerio and DIFOR, from the Regione Toscana, the Montaigne Florentine Model Forest, the Valle del Terno Model Forest, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, Silva Mediterranea, as well as our Canadian colleagues from the Embassy in Rome. And our particular thanks also to Tony and the Mediterranean Model Forest Secretariat for extending the opportunity to participate in this event. Let me open by noting in Canada, and as we understand in Italy and in many countries of the International Model Forest Network, we share the challenges within the forest sector, including labor issues of urban migration from rural communities, and equipping the next generation of local leaders with an aging rural population. We're well aware of these challenges. We're also aware of the forest sector and the broader landscapes which they are encompassing, and the many ongoing challenges on those landscapes, including wildland fire, pest infestations, declining fiber supply. We know that the market conditions, including ongoing trade irritants and environmental campaigns, the evolving demand on our traditional forest sector approaches, the growing economy of the growing bioeconomy, and a focus on net zero objectives. These are all clear signals of a need to drive a transformational change in how we manage forest ecosystems for long-term resilience and sustainability. I'm no expert in forest management in Italy or the challenges that are facing Italy right now. But from my perspective and as a role that I play as the head of the International Model Forest Network Secretariat, I definitely see the value of working together in partnerships with local stakeholders who can come together and put words into action. I think there's a tremendous value of being part of a network, the ability to convene and work together with everyday experts, such as those that we're going to hear from today. I'm going to be brief, but I want to quickly share with you some background about the model forest concept, where and how we work, and provide a couple of examples of action beyond words. The model forest approach was developed and implemented by the Government of Canada in the early 1990s. And we did so across 10 sites, 10 landscapes across our country in Canada. And it was a response to a period of conflict in Canada's forest sector, at a time when environmentalists, when governments, when Indigenous peoples, when communities and forest workers were all struggling over forest resources and how to manage them sustainably. The idea behind the model forest concept was to move away from valuing forests for their timber alone and more towards a vision where the social, environmental, economic, and cultural benefits and trade-offs would be considered equal. From the beginning, Model Forest promoted the idea of forming partnerships under a neutral forum where a range of values and interests could be represented, and where partners could experiment with new ideas under a common goal towards sustainable development. Each site, each model forest was in fact a model from which others could learn and together advance sustainable goals in their forest and in the larger landscape that surrounded them. This model forest approach showed immediate promise as people came together to find solutions to the challenges that were on their landscapes. Challenges such as logging practices, biodiversity conservation, and economic stability. The success that we had in Canada led us to internationalize this. And at the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. We provided the opportunity to scale up these lessons from the model forests in Canada and share them internationally with partners. The International Model Forest Network Secretariat was established in 1995, and today it's hosted by the Government of Canada, Natural Resources Canada, the Canadian Forest Service in Ottawa. So this network of model forests is a growing global voluntary network. What began in the 1990s, 3 decades ago, is now the world's largest network dedicated to sustainable landscape governance. More than 60 model forests in over 30 countries across 5 continents, more than 70 million hectares, more than 20 million people live in these model forests. And that's a reflection of the social aspect of local forest and landscape governance. Each model forest is unique, but is governed by the same principles of trust, transparency, and collaborative decision-making. The model forest approach is really founded on 6 key principles: partnerships, a commitment to sustainability, working at a landscape level, open and transparent governance, and a program of activities that are pragmatic and reflect the needs of the stakeholders. And the last one, a commitment to capacity building and networking. You'll note in the map today that we have model forests in Italy, and as we always do, we continually update this map, and we look forward to hopefully adding more examples of where model forests are around the world. So why do model forests matter? Well, we continue to work with domestic and international partners to safeguard nature and to build on sustainable future for the next generation. This means addressing climate resilience, environmental landscape restoration, and biodiversity. These are things that are always top of mind in Canada's inclusive economic and global development. As an example, in December 2022, at the CBD COP15 in Montreal, Canada's Minister of Natural Resources announced $18.7 million over 4 years to the International Model Forest Network to scale up nature-based leadership platforms. Through this proven partnership of model forests, we are focusing on official development assistance eligible countries, and this investment will support scaling up forest and landscape restoration, enabling inclusive landscape governance, and making some contributions to equip the next generation of forest leaders to address issues of climate change and biodiversity. In addition, the Natural Resources Canada's announced a new program called the Global Forest Leadership Program. And over the past several months, we are delighted to be able to extend 3 separate funding opportunities to the Regione Toscana for the Mediterranean Model Forest Network. And these have been investments in the excess of 900,000 Canadian dollars over the next 3 years. We hope that this serves as a demonstration of our trust in the excellent work that's been performed by the Mediterranean Model Forest Network Secretariat since the time they assumed the Secretariat role in April 2019. It's also a strong recognition of the continued counterpart funding that has been provided to date by Italy. As a network of networks, and through the power of partnerships, it's clear that the successes as a region is also our success as a global network. The Model Forest Network has been around for over 30 years. There's been a lot that we've learned from our experiences, from our successes, and from our failures. And all this helps us to accelerate efforts to address the challenges that are before us, including those related to land degradation and wildfires. There are a number of values reasons to be a member of the International Mall Forest Network, especially at a time when the role of forests in addressing climate and biodiversity issues is high on the global agenda. And we see more countries taking action on forest-related aspects. Forest ecosystems and how we sustainably manage them are key nature-based solutions to the many issues that we are facing, whether it be wildland fire management, climate mitigation, or increased efforts in conservation. An inclusive and a shared governance approach to natural resource management will become even more relevant as we all try to address global goals on forest. Whether it's the north or the south or the east or west, within the International Mall of Forest Network, we see local leadership in action. Nature-based solutions and leaders of tomorrow are stepping up to overcome the challenges of today. And one of the key roles of the International Mall of Forest Network Secretariat is to amplify these local voices and these regional messages. This is our way of helping. It's a convening role to shine the light on things that we know are working well within the forested landscapes around the world. I want to share with you quickly an example or two of model forests showing sustainability in action. With regards to wildland fire, we know that they're amongst the 60 plus model forests in over 30 countries on 5 continents. Many, if not all of these model forests are experiencing and are having challenges to manage fire in the landscape. Whether it be the mega fires in the model forests of Bolivia, Guatemala, or Brazil, or the wildland fires that are a little bit more contained, but nonetheless are challenges on the Canadian boreal forests in Prince Albert. Through an existing partnership and those that we have on the ground, in just 3 months in 2020, combined efforts with Canada and the Canadian and the Latin American Model Forest Network, we were able to mobilize responses to wildland fires in Latin America. The initiative was called Restauración, Wildland Fire Restoration in Latin America. Canada invested just over $2.3 million in 2021, and 7 model forests spread over 6 countries in Latin America: Bolivia, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Guatemala, and Peru all participated. The strong results from these model forests unlocked additional investments. We were able to include Brazil in the years ahead, and the initiative scaled up to over $6 million in investments. Inclusive and shared governance approaches to natural resource management are critical to addressing the challenges on the landscapes around the world. Model forests provide a forum for knowledge exchange and capacity building, for research, for restoration, monitoring, and climate. They empower women. And the one example that I wanted to bring forward was one from the Mediterranean region, the DigiMed4, a groundbreaking initiative set to transform the digital landscape of the Mediterranean forest wood supply chain and bolster competitiveness. An overarching goal is to empower stakeholders to effectively manage forests and supply multiple ecosystem services, including vital traceability of wood from the forest to the end users. You'll see on the screen a couple of other examples from other regions. Each is locally driven but universally important. The International Mall of Forest Network offers 3 decades of experience working in partnership at a landscape scale. It also does so nationally, regionally, and internationally. And we see a strong future and a path forward, continuing this approach and working together. In closing, I want to extend the invitation to join us to learn more and see sustainability in action. The website is just below imfn.net. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate today. Thank you for your local leadership, and we look forward to continuing to build a long and successful partnership with you, your government, the Regione Toscana. Between Italy and Canada, there is a strong ally and a voice for the Mediterranean model forest, and as well within the International Model Forest Network as a whole. Many thanks.